everyone, and welcome to another Top 5 Records video. Today I'm going to be talking about a very special and brilliant musician and producer, and his name is Cale. And there is a very special occasion because this man, being aged 80 years old, just released another album a couple of days ago, his first in about 10 years, something like that, and it's a killer album. Rolling Stone raving reviews, 80 years old, and the man is as relevant as always. And this is very interesting because this man started off his career with a band called the Velvet Underground. His first two albums with that band, and the only two he was part of, the Velvet Underground and Nico and White Light, White Heat, were masterpieces, and they were essential for the development of music. And the moment he went away, or the moment he was put aside out of the band by Lou Reed, the sound of the band changed. An element of experiment changed. And that is interesting because that element of experiment went elsewhere. But he never experimented solely for the sake of experiment. He always experimented to put new artists and sounds on the stage. So, as a matter of fact, music companies, publishers, they started to hire him to produce new artists with an interesting sound. He was the first one to record the Stooges because they did not know how to capture that live sound. So John Cale did it. Later on, he produced Jonathan Richman and the Modern Lovers, Patti Smith. He is a brilliant producer, but aside from that, his solo career also contains rare gems. In my opinion, John Cale is one of the most essential artists of the 20th century, and he just showed us that in the 21st century, he is not gone, and he's still essential. Let's start off my list, my top 5 with favorite John Cale albums, with this beautiful one. Fear is a Man's Best Friend. I'm holding the first UK pressing of Fear is a Man's Best Friend. It's a dark album. It's beautifully dark. The opening track, Fear is a Man's Best Friend, if you listen to it, especially if you listen to it from First UK, you're gonna hear something you will never hear again. It is so impressive. There's so much going on. After that, he has songs like Buffalo Ballet and Barracuda. He ends off the first side with Ship of Fools. Man, what a killer album. It is incredible. The number 5 spot, Fear is a Man's Best Friend. It's completely impressive what this man can do. Now, number 5 spot. Number 4, I'm happy with this one. Vintage Violence, his first studio album as a solo artist. And there is something going on here. This is a very melodic album. It has some beautiful, beautiful tunes. My favorite of this album, I'm in doubt. There are 2 songs here, Amsterdam and Ghost Story, which are of a rare beauty. There is an element of rawness on this album, but there is also beauty. John Cale is a dark, raw artist who likes to experiment, but with a very interesting sense and a very genuine, heartfelt place for beauty. This makes him an experimental, an avant-garde artist, but he is inviting. He's not someone who likes to disregard his audience or doesn't want to invite you in. John Cale invites in, and Vintage Violence invites you in. Beautiful album on the 4th spot. Now, this is also brilliant. Music for a New Society. This was his early 1982 album, early 80s, and he completely went a different direction with this. There are songs on here which are incredible. There are very, very interesting stories involved here. Taking Your Life in Your Hands. It is a very complex album in a sense that there's a lot of emotion going on, but there's also a lot of experiment in sound, and I really like that. It is almost as if you're putting on an album for atmosphere, and it's new, it sounds like the future. although it's 40 years old. Beautiful album. Music for a New Society. On number 3. Number 2. I I always get a. I'm always a, when I hold this in my hands, something's going on. I'm not sure why. I think this is an epic masterpiece, and you don't come across a vinyl version that often. If you find one, buy it. Because this album, John Cale, Paris 1990, is something you will never hear elsewhere. It's sort of a child's Christmas in Wales. Hanky Panky Know How comes after that. Macbeth, there are so much beautiful compositions here. There is so much going on. It's almost like classical music, but in a pop sense. Such a beautiful collection of melody, but also roughness. I mean, this man has punch. He can immediately end a sound. He can end a tune and start up again, and have the most complex situation. It's so gorgeous. Oh, I mean, the song Paris 1990. I have that in my head all the time. The lyrics are also so good. This is the only album he went in to record in which he already wrote out and planned the entire album on forehand. Usually he's the kind of man who goes in the studio and tries out some things, writes some things in the studio. This one was completely planned, and it's a beautiful masterpiece. Yeah, I have a first UK pressing here, which sounds amazing, but I also have a German pressing, and it's a tough competition. It's a very tough competition. Both have different qualities. So if you're gonna find one, if you find a first UK, if you find a German one, both are very excellent choices. It's hard to say which one's better. Now, number 1 spot, my favorite John Cale album. I'm going for a live album. Fragments of a Rainy Season. Now, this is a live album. I believe he recorded it in 1990 during a live tour in which he was on stage all by himself. This is John Cale with a piano and with a guitar. And it's not piano and guitar at the same time. He either plays the piano or he either plays the guitar. And for somebody who experienced so much in the studio, experimented so much in the studio with orchestras, with strange setups for bands, who had very interesting and complex situations with different musicians, to go back to the bare bones and to stand on that stage by himself, you start to notice the songwriting. And I dare to challenge anyone to listen to this album and say he is not one of the most amazing and talented songwriters of the 20th century. On this album, there's Buffalo Ballet. On side B, he has A Child's Christmas in Wales. Gorgeous song. Darling, I Need You. Guts, got no guts. Ship of Fools. Leaving it up to you. All. Nothing less but brilliant songs. Then, side C. The Battle of Cable Hawk. Very good. Chinese Envoy. And the Chinese Envoy. Dying on the Vine. Listen to Dying on the Vine on this album. It's one of the best live recorded songs ever. It's so good. And after that, he just goes into Fear is a Man's Best Friend, which he tears. I mean, he kills it. He was sober during this album. He had it because he was an incredible alcoholic. This album is the quality of somebody who's sober now, fully knows what was going on in the songs. Heartbreak Hotel, an Elvis Presley cover, which is good. On side D, The Style It Takes, a song he did with Lou Reed originally on a beautiful album, the Songs for Drella album. Then after, Paris 1990. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. And he ends it off with Hallelujah. And Hallelujah was the first time, actually, This is the Hallelujah you know, because Jeff Buckley did not listen to Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. He listens to John Cale's Hallelujah. He found a single or a compilation album with this version, exactly this version, on that compilation. He listened to that, and what he plays on the guitar is John Cale's interpretation of Hallelujah. A master, an incredible master, and I really hope he'll make more albums. Now, tell me, do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.